Hello, everybody, and welcome into the latest edition of Wheeling Feeling, brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration and Wheeling Island Hotel Casino Racetrack. First off, how about that new intro? We are legit now. I know we're coming to you a little bit early this week, but that's because the big holiday everybody's celebrating is on Thursday, and I know a lot of people are going to be very busy that day. So we wanted to make sure you definitely had something to do for the 4th of July weekend. Now, of course, the fireworks are what everybody knows about, but music is going to be a really big part of Wheeling's 4th of July celebration. I had a chance to speak with John Devlin, who is the conductor for the Wheeling Symphony Orchestra, about what they're planning to do on the night of the 4th, and we'll hear from him in just about 30 seconds.
Wheeling Island has your share of $100,000 as part of our summer living giveaways. So join us Saturdays in June, where each week we'll draw 10 lucky winners every hour from 7 to 10 p.m. Play for your chance to win free play or gift cards up to $2,500 each. Pick the progressive and you'll win cash starting at $2,000 or more. Players receive 1 entry for every 50 base points earned. Plus, you'll earn double entries when you play on Mondays and Tuesdays. Only at Wheeling Island Hotel Casino Racetrack.
Of course, everybody knows about fireworks when it comes to the 4th of July, but in the city of Wheeling, there's also going to be some really, really awesome music that is part of the 4th of July celebration. I'm joined by John Devlin with the Wheeling Symphony Orchestra. John, tell me a little bit about the outdoor concert you guys are going to be doing on the 4th of July.
Hi, Jamie. Thanks so much for having me here today. So on the 4th, it's such a beautiful annual tradition. It's the beginning of our season. We will have a concert at 8 p.m. down at Heritage Port, free for the entire community. As part of this concert, we celebrate Wheeling, we celebrate Independence Day, and we celebrate great music. And it's a special concert this year because we are kicking off our 95th anniversary. 9.5 decades of beautiful orchestral music here in Wheeling and the Ohio Valley. We can't wait to get season 95 started.
Well, I was going to say, just tell me a little bit about the tradition of the Wheeling Symphony Orchestra. As you mentioned, 95 years, that's a long time.
We're one of only 3 orchestras in the state of West Virginia. And of course, there are 500 years of classical music tradition within our history with orchestras. And so I think it's an extremely beautiful part of the cultural fabric of Wheeling that this symphony and the Capitol Theater have been part of the last 100 years here in the Ohio Valley. So for us, this is an extremely important part of our mission, providing access, a free concert, a community celebration, and we have thousands of people join us. And this concert is going to be a truly special one as we have Ben Gully, one of the foremost tenors on the American music scene, joining us, not only for the concert in Wheeling, but for the entire tour.
Well, you mentioned, obviously, this is happening on the 4th of July, but if somebody, might be out of town or isn't available on the 4th of July, you guys actually have 3 more shows as part of the series, correct?
That's correct, because as I mentioned, there are only 3 orchestras in the state. So a lot of communities don't have access to this type of programming that we are so grateful for here in Wheeling. So on the 5th, we go up to Weirton. On the 6th, we'll go out to Clarksburg. And then we end our concert series in Canaan Valley, up in the beautiful hills of one of their ski resorts. And all of these concerts are free, supported by a few of our wonderful sponsors and the cities in which we perform. So we're thankful not only to be able to celebrate the 4th right here in Wheeling, but to go all throughout our state to bring classical music to people that enjoy it as part of their July 4th celebration.
Well, tell me a little bit about what people can expect if they're coming out to hear you.
Sure. So we love to support new American music as part of the WSO. So there will be some pieces by living American composers. For instance, Matthew Jackford, whose name may be familiar because he is the public radio voice of West Virginia Public Radio on their classical music programming. He's developed a great friendship with me and with our organization over the years. And so we're going to be performing a piece called Blackwater from his Canaan Valley suite, which is about Canaan Valley. So it's incredibly appropriate that we perform that piece there. Then we're going to have patriotic standards such as Stars and Stripes Forever, a great Sousa March, America the Beautiful, an Armed Forces Salute. And then we're going to pay tribute to some of the great American music from the last 100 years, especially Broadway. We'll have music from Carousel, from Les Miserables. We'll have some very famous opera tunes that people will love to hear from a great singer such as Ben. And then I'm excited that Sean Hancher, the WSO's conducting fellow, who's from right here in Wheeling, and he is on our conducting staff, and he's going to have his debut on the July 4th tour conducting 2 selections as well. So we're very excited for all of these beautiful things that Sean and Ben will bring, as well as the musicians of the WSO.
Well, I know you guys do these outdoor concerts every year, but can you tell me, is it just like kind of a different vibe when you're outside amongst the people as opposed to maybe being at the Capitol Theater or on stage? Is it just kind of a different vibe for you guys when you're out there?
It sure is because as 7 of our concerts every year take place in the Capitol, and that is divided into our classical and our pops programming. And of course, it feels a little bit more formal when you're in a building as beautifully historic as the Capitol and everybody's seated in their assigned places. For these other concerts that we have, our community series, they are involved in a bunch of different formats. July 4th and Music Under the Stars, which is our Labor Day concert up at Oglebay, are free, outdoor, come as you are, bring your picnic, bring your family. We love that aspect. People can come and go as they please. We're providing a music to celebrate an occasion, and it feels very appropriate to do that as one of the great conveners of people here in Wheeling. We also have Symphony on Ice, which is down at Westbanco Arena around the holidays. It kicks off the holiday season. That's special in and of itself, with hundreds of participants, the skaters, the choir members, and the orchestra itself. And then we also go to schools, which is an entirely different vibe for 3rd to 5th graders who can't wait for the orchestra to get there, both because they're out of the classroom and able to cheer us on. That's probably my favorite part of every year when we visit the young people at home at their schools.
Well, as people start to make their plans for the 4th of July, what do they need to know if they would like to come out, whether it's time, where to be, things like that for the 4th for you guys?
Sure. So we are going to be down at Heritage Port, and the concert officially begins at 8 p.m. But there's lots of preliminary activities. There are food trucks. There are ways to get different types of both alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. We've partnered with the Westbanco and Capitol teams to provide those services. And there will be fireworks after the show that will start at about 9:45. The orchestra starts by performing our annual tradition of having Star Wars music accompany the beginning of the fireworks, and then the fireworks will go for between 20 and 30 minutes. There's going to be parking open all throughout downtown, which is free and unrestricted because of the national holiday. But of course, given that the streetscape is kind of entering its final stages here, we encourage people to get there early and be aware, of course, that it's going to be hot. Everybody gets hydrated. If it does happen to rain, there's a small chance of rain. The rain location for the concert will be inside of Westbanco Arena with plenty of room for everybody to be there if we have to get moved inside.
All right, and John, one final question for you.
Sure.
I know you've been with the orchestra for a few years now. When you look at a place like Wheeling, that is a bit of a smaller city, having amenities like the Wheeling Symphony Orchestra, what does that say about the growth of the city and kind of the vision that I know a lot of people have set out and how close the city is to getting there?
It's no secret that Wheeling is in a rebuilding phase right now. The streetscape is just one of those elements. But you look at Oglebay right now, and they are redoing every single one of their restaurant and dining concepts, and many, many of the guest rooms have been renovated. You look at OVMC getting torn down right now, and all the construction around Center Market in order to bring the cancer center there. The new hotel that's just been announced. And the Wheeling Symphony for 9.5 decades has been a pillar of interest, not only for the community, but for Main Street and the downtown at the Capitol Theater. So with the new visitor center being put into place there, with the Wheeling Inn coming down, the beautiful work that the Carl family has been doing at the bridge, we are excited to be a firmament of culture and arts there at 10th and Main. And then there's going to be this beautiful stretch of the best of what Wheeling has to offer as we go all the way down to the water throughout the downtown. As a resident of downtown, I feel it on a daily basis. So it's an incredibly special part of the cultural fabric of Wheeling, not only to have the Wheeling Symphony, but say the parks like we have up at Oglebay, but we feel like it sets us apart from a lot of the other communities here in the Ohio Valley that we've valued a cultural institution like the Wheeling Symphony for 95 years. And I'm actually penning an article right now to appear in the paper about our vision for what the symphony has meant over the first 95 years of its history, but also what we're looking forward to as we get to year 100. We want to have a lot more community-focused programming, community participation in what we do with the music, including the creation of a community choir that will be open to all residents of Wheeling and the surrounding areas to sing with the symphony later this year. We're looking forward to the expansion of these projects and many more to come.
All right, John. So again, you guys are going to be out there Thursday night at Heritage Port. And as you mentioned, a lot of stuff coming up for you guys. We have all of that linked on our website, WTOV9.com. So John, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jaime. We'll see you soon.
West Virginia's largest restoration company is now in the heart of the Mountain State. With a location in Charleston, joining our branches in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, we'll be there to help when you need it most. Our expert team and state-of-the-art equipment is ready to serve the Kanawha Valley 24 hours a day. From water damage to fire restoration, when disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Again, thank you so much to John Devlin for joining me. Now, there's a bunch of different fireworks shows happening near the Wheeling area over the weekend, so let's go through a few of those. Now, on July 3rd, the Highlands will be holding their fireworks display at dusk. Oglebay will also have fireworks. They'll be on July 3rd and July 6th. Those will be at Shank Lake at dusk both those days. Now, Wheeling and Moundsville will both be on the 4th at dusk, whereas Wheeling Island Casino, Bethlehem, and Elm Grove will all host their fireworks on July 5th. So plenty of places to go over those 3 days if you want to see a lot of good fireworks. There's also a big favorite coming back into town this weekend. The Beast of the East is coming back to the Ohio Valley. This tournament has been around for years, and it's one of the favorites of people who come from all over the country. Now, these games have 3 different age groups, and they're played at 7 fields, all the way up as north as Edison and Weirton, down to where John Marshall High School is, and even Bel Air. Now, again, as I mentioned, people come from all over the country for this, and there's plenty of games over the 4-day stretch. You can find a link to all of those games, the schedule, and anybody you might want to see at beastoftheeast.org. So I'm sure it won't be hard to find something to do over this holiday weekend. And of course, happy July 4th. We'll be back at our regular time again next week on Thursday at 7 p.m. as I get a walkthrough of all the construction happening at Oglebay and some of the new restaurants they'll be offering in the coming weeks. Until then, have a great week and enjoy that Wheeling feeling.